Hi there, Carl Massy here, coach, strategist and author of a few books, and welcome to part 2 of creating your life master plan. So in part 1 I talked about the importance of getting clear about the lifestyle you want. So thinking first lifestyle, this is the lifestyle I want, then start building around it. So if you haven't done that part, I strongly encourage you to drop back into part 1 and doing the activity and getting clear about your lifestyle so you can create around it. And one of the things about, our brains and this beautiful thing that we have that's, one of the most complex and most powerful things in the known universe is its ability to come up with answers to things when we ask empowering and powerful questions. So if we come up with in advance what our lifestyle looks like, and then we ask this powerful brain, your powerful brain, how can I create a life experience which ticks all the boxes and comes in a package like this particular lifestyle experience I want to have? And because you've already shaped it out and you've asked this beautiful, powerful brain of yours, the brain starts coming up with ideas. Oh, maybe we could do this and maybe we could do that. And that's the thing about getting clarity at the front end. Once you get clarity about the lifestyle, then it's much easier to develop this plan and get creative about how you can bring that into being. So that was part 1. So now you're ready to go a little bit deeper into this life master plan. And again, I work with lots of different clients, hundreds of different clients over the last 13 years now that I've been coaching. And one of the things is for them, I'm always interested in what it is they most want to do, what it is they're most passionate about, what is it that their sense of, and this is a word that gets thrown around a lot, so I'm going to be a little bit deliberate in my use of this word, your purpose. So your purpose in life, maybe you heard it as your calling. Maybe if you follow yogic tradition, something like that, it might be your Dharma, your Dharmic path. So really digging deeper into trying to understand what this is. And in the Life Masterclass that I teach, the workshop, I share what my purpose statement is. And my purpose and what I believe is the purpose for all of us, in a very general sense. The purpose of you is to be the fullest expression of yourself in your own unique way, in a way that causes you to expand into your full potential, that serves you and serves others. So I believe the purpose for you is to become more of you, in whatever flavor that looks like, because it needs to be unique to you. And I believe we are all so unique. And let me prove that to you right now. I want you to hold your finger up. I want you to turn your finger around and look at yourself. Look at your finger. Look at that top section of your finger. And as you look at the top section of that finger, I want you to acknowledge that your fingerprint is unique in 7.8 billion people, or whatever the number of people on the planet is at the moment. You've got a unique fingerprint in 7.8 billion people. Like, that is incredible. So if this is sort of 1/10,000th of yourself, and as you sort of express the fullness of yourself, you are so unique like nothing else. And I believe our purpose in life is to bring our uniqueness into being. So bringing your uniqueness, not you copying someone else, and we might have the people that we most admire in the fields that we're most interested in, and we'd like, whether it's a sports thing or whether it's an art thing or whether it's an entrepreneur thing or something else. We have those superstars in that, but it's not about being mini-me's of that person that we most admire. It's maybe taking components of what we admire about that person and what they're doing and what they're creating, and then integrating it into ourselves. So integrating it into you. So take all those pieces of stardust and sort of package them up and then put them into yourself in a way that's unique for you, in a way that resonates for you, in a way that allows you to fully express the uniqueness that you are. So again, that's what I believe is the bigger purpose. And then it comes down to, how do I express this purpose? And again, I want to reiterate the point that I made, that I don't think we're on purpose. I don't think we're on our path if what we're doing doesn't serve others. And I would even extend beyond that to say, if it doesn't serve the greater good. So if I'm doing something that's just good for me but not good for others, I don't think that's the full purpose of your being on this planet. If you do something that's good for you and sort of good for others but bad for the planet, again, I don't think you're on purpose. I don't think you've really tapped into the fullest expression of yourself in a way that makes those impacts. So it really is about finding that thing and bringing that to life in a way that, like, not only has you feeling great, but has others around you feeling great, or whoever you're working with or whoever you're influencing through that process. But also it sort of fills out into broad areas. It's great for your legacy, it's great for the community, it's great for the environment, it's great for the well-being of the planet. When you tip into that stuff, that's when you're really tapping into something that's powerful, something that's aligned in a bigger way with the essence of who you are. Now that might sound like pretty daunting to try and figure this thing out. So, one thing I like to say with my clients is this idea of finding your purpose and the expression of your purpose, bringing this, this light that exists within you, this special, unique thing, bringing that to life. It might be that you need to, go in different directions and try different things and realize, no, that's not it. And we might move in different directions and, well, that's not it. But this part of it I loved, and we sort of moved like that. As I look at my own life experience, I was in the military and I was doing security consulting for Olympic Games around the world. And it was an impressive experience. I was getting paid extremely well, traveling all around the world, probably top 50 in the world at what I did. So significance with that. So ticking a bunch of boxes. But what I realized when I really broke it down and looked at what I was doing, what I loved the most, and I remember working in Athens and I was working with a senior police officer, a colonel in the police force, and he was putting together, his plan of how he's going to do transport security and that sort of thing. And I was freaking out because this was bigger than anything that he'd ever done before. He'd done security projects on football games and maybe a number of football games every weekend, but never anything on the scale of the Olympic Games. So he's freaking out a little bit, not showing it, keeping it in pretty tight and that sort of stuff. But what I loved most about my work wasn't helping him come up with a plan, which was, the things that I could do. Here's the strategies for it. Here's how we create this plan. What I loved most was actually helping him deal with this emotional discomfort and helping him to feel more at peace and more at ease. Helping him to manage his physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual state so that he had the most fulfilling experience as he went through that process. So I realized that's the part that I love the most. These other things are interesting, but they're not the part that resonate with me. So then it was, okay, I've learned over this 20 years, I like this thing, I like this thing, I don't like that, I'm not interested in that piece, and then I take that up. So it wasn't until I was about 39 that I actually realized the thing I most want to do is I want to work with people and I want to help them bring out the best of what they are. And I want them to bring that out in the way that makes the world a better place. And when I'm doing that and there's a ripple effect, I know if I, work with someone and that sort of lights them up, I know that they're going to pass that stuff on. So I've become part of this sort of chain of things moving forwards. So that's when we know, this is it. So we don't necessarily get that at an early age. Paulo Coelho, Brazilian author that wrote The Alchemist, it sold millions and millions of copies around the world. I think he sold over 100 million copies of all the books that he's written. It wasn't until he was into his 40s that he actually really did what he wanted to do, which was authoring. He did these other things along the way. And when he first wrote his book, the first publication of The Alchemist didn't really take off. It wasn't until he re-released it and found a new publisher that it actually took off. So again, even when we're going on our purpose and our path and our Dharmic path, there might be some graduating steps along the way before we finally hit that groove along the way. So the activity I'm going to get you to do today is really to look, and I'm just asking you a number of questions. And as we ask questions, the beautiful thing about questions is it causes us to go up into this highest part of our brain. So we're starting to get into the upper cortex, the frontal lobes of our brain. This is where we get into this imagination space. This is where we can project ourselves out into the future and create something that doesn't exist. And it's by asking the right questions that we stimulate that. And if we can bring, the emotional state into elevated emotional state, these emotions of inspiration, these emotions of curiosity, these emotions of adventure, that's where we want to come into this process from. We want to be in, again, this light, playful state that I talked about in the first part when we're looking at lifestyle. For this activity, again, I want you to find like a nice, creative, fun, playful space. And then I want you to drop into this thing and really like settle into it. And settle into it in a way that you don't have to know exactly how. At this point in time, you don't have to know how. This is in the dream space. This is dreaming stuff up. Because what I've found with so many clients I've worked with is they dream up a thing that they really want to do, but then there's a part of their brain that comes in and says, yeah, but we don't know how to do that. So then they might shut the lid down on this. That is not what I want for you. I don't want you to stop something because you don't know how. You just don't know how yet. You'll figure it out. And particularly when you connect with something that's, aligned with your heart and soul, you will figure it out. You'll be pulled along. That's inspiration. When I'm talking with my clients, one of the things I get them when they're telling me, what it is you most want to do. When I listen to them, I sort of listen to see how passionate and enthusiastic they get about it. And when they're talking about something, if they're so enthusiastic and passionate about it, I start getting goosebumps. And that's my indicator that someone's coming from their heart. Someone's coming from their deeper part of their being. So that's where I want you to tap into, this deeper part of your being. Not what someone else said you ought to be doing. Not what you think you ought to be doing to get the external validation from someone else. I teach a lot about evolution, and the evolutionary process is moving from ego-based living into love-based living. That's where this purpose lives, and your individual, unique purpose lives. It's not in an egoic place. It's not trying to prove something to someone else. It's not trying to prove something to your peers and your schoolmates and your colleagues through work. It's not your family that you're trying to prove something to. We want to get beyond that into a place that you were put on this planet to fully express this. And Joseph Campbell had this process which he called the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is integrated into so many different books, into so many different movies, and Star Wars was, the hero's journey. And the hero's journey starts off with the person starting out on their journey, trying to discover things out, realizing that they want to do this particular thing, having trials and tribulations along the way. They might have some initial wins, and then they have some disasters along the way, and they figure out eventually over the course of this hero's journey, and they come out the other end, and they're in this evolved space of knowing, but the loop isn't closed until they teach someone else about it. And so this is where I think your purpose is to fully express yourself in a way that has a positive impact for other people. You passing on that, something that whatever it is you do, you're creating something that creates a visceral or emotional response in someone else, like in whatever shape or form that takes. And that can be being the greatest, most awesome mother, the greatest, most awesome father who, creates these beautiful children that go on to have these ripple effects. So it's what is unique to yourself. And again, don't get too caught up in whatever people are doing. Don't spend too much time on your social media comparing yourself to what others are doing. This is a chance to push everything and everyone away and dip into yourself. And it's not what your mother wanted for you, or your father, or your siblings, or your partners, or anyone else. It's like dipping into what is it that you truly want? What is it that you feel is your purpose? What is it that you think is the fullest expression of yourself? What is it that causes you to most light up? What are you most passionate about? And asking these questions to bring this up to the fore. So then you're like, it's when I do this that I'm most alive. And when I do this, when I'm most alive, if I can do it in this particular way that has a positive impact on others and, a greater legacy imprint, this is when I'm on purpose. This is when I'm on my path. This is when I'm doing my calling. This is when I'm fulfilling my Dharma. That's where you're going to get to. So again, I'm going to leave you to do this activity. And as I said in the last presentation, I encourage you to do it in a journal. Have a look at the documents, have a look at my questions, write those questions in your journal and then answer those questions. Find the environment that is most conducive for you to being in your most playful, creative, curious, heart-filled space, and then create from there. And you'll have a completely different experience than if you're somewhere else that doesn't bring the best out in yourself. So, craft the environment to make that so powerful for you. So have a fantastic time doing that. Again, if you have any questions, specific questions that come up as a result of this, don't hesitate to reach out, whether it's through social media channels or whether it's sending me an email that you can grab from my website, carlmassy.com. So have a fantastic day, have a fantastic activity. I'll see you for part 3 in the not too distant future. All the very best and take care.